It's Monday Fun Day again, and it's one of my most exciting recordings ever because last week, like I mentioned, I have a very, very exciting guest. It's none other than my sister, Prajuna KC. If any one of you know me, you know how much I talk about my sisters. If I have North Star in my life, I'm so lucky to have three of them.
Hello everybody, namaste, good afternoon, good morning.
What does success mean to you, and how do you think it has evolved? It has evolved over the years for you.
Yeah, I think it's taken a complete 180 over the years. Ever since you probably know me, even as a child, I've been very competitive. I wanted to get 4.0 A grades, be the first in everything. But I think over the years, what has really helped me define is my success is the fact that whatever I wished for has not come true. In the sense that however I define success hasn't my life hasn't been adhering to that definition of success. So it's really transformed. It was about being the first, getting the A grade, getting the best job, being the best at what you're doing. But as you mentioned in your previous video, I think success now is more about, am I happy where I am? And recently I was asking, after having a baby, I think my professional life has taken a little bit of a pause. So I was wondering, because as a child, I was like, I want to be a really good, have a very successful career, be a very good professional, but that has changed. So success to me is, are you happy where you are? And I've always wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and that's how I define my success. How many lives I have touched in my own doing. So that doesn't necessarily have to be from a professional point of view. It doesn't have to be from a career point of view. It's really helped me define success and be happy with where I am is my failures. As I mentioned earlier, life hasn't always turned out the way I wanted. Even being like the best of student, having the best of grades, initially I really struggled getting a job that I wanted, or finding a job that I felt passionate about, because I wanted to change lives and I kept feeling that whatever job I was taking wasn't really fulfilling that. So I think those failures, or the fact that things did not transpire as I wanted, really helped me define success. So it's a message for everybody who's listening. If things are not working out the way you want, that does not mean you're successful. It's probably nudging you towards the success that's meant to happen. And for you to acknowledge that wherever you are, it's how you define your success and how you define your happiness.
Balancing motherhood and then trying to find yourself again, and then getting back into the professional world.
Hmm. I think, like any other mother in this, our generation, we want to have it all. We want to have a really good family. We want to be good mothers. We want to have really successful careers. And I wanted the same, as when I was a good student, that's what I wanted to have good grades so I could have a good job. And that sort of changed when I had my baby. And I'll tell you why it has changed. Because I feel that recently, even with the corona situation, having to be a stay at home mom and having to balance my work, it really pushed me to think why it was always up to a woman to make choices. Why it was her that either she has to choose a successful career or a happy home or time with baby, and also having that guilt of being away from your child. And I think that thought process never even crosses a man's mind. It's never a question of, do I have to stay home, take care of my baby, or do I attend this meeting? Do I have a successful career? Do I attend an after work party? So all of those things was really, really, really pushed me to question. I think our generation probably has the heaviest load. As you mentioned in your previous videos, we were brought up not thinking we're any lesser than men. We could achieve whatever we wanted if we really put our mind into it. But I think it really put a burden because the society hasn't evolved the way we have evolved. We want to take up roles, we want to be involved in politics, we want to have successful careers. But the expectation of a woman is still she is the primary caretaker of the house and of the baby. And I think our generation has the heaviest burden of having to balance everything. And I think that's how we define success when we have everything. We have a good career, we have a good family, we're able to give time to our kids. And I want that definition to change. And whether society changes it for us or not, I want to change it for myself. I want to prioritize the time that I have with my son, and be that central point of happiness. I wanted to mention, when I was doing some work, there's a term called she economy, where they really push women to be part of the formal economy. And I was like, so why are we pushing women to do more things without taking on the burden they already have? So, so if we are pushing women to be part of formal economy because it's good for the global economy, then what are we doing as a nation, as a society, at government level to make it easier for women to participate? And that hasn't happened. So I feel like at our generation is at a brink where there's a bit of an imbalance, but hopefully the generations after, the society too will have evolved, where the caretaker role will have been shared equally by our partners.
Yeah, that's so true. So you because of that, well, what's the word? Because of that duality problem, yeah, just trying to find balance. I know you left your full-time role, which was an incredible position. So my sister was the country manager for Frost and Sullivan for Nepal, and I know it was a big decision for you, because maybe it would have been a setback for your career. But how did you go about taking that decision, and what was that like for you?
It was very difficult, because having put so much effort over the years, getting a degree from a well-renowned institute, having put so much effort into my career over the years, and coming to a point where I was really struggling. And I think that's what maturity is all about, and that's what being able to define success is all about. I was at a point where I was struggling to balance my professional life, my house life, and my time with baby. So with Corona, being in lockdown, sort of being in isolation, and having to be a full-time caretaker for my baby is really, really difficult. I was struggling to manage time. And I don't think anyone except you can understand what you really need at that particular point of time. And if I talk to people and they're like, oh, no, no, you can balance, you've been balancing. But I think I really needed to love myself. I really need to put myself first, which I'm learning now, and which my eldest sister, she taught me to love myself, to prioritize myself, and that's what I did. It was a very difficult decision, but I knew it was the best thing because I found myself very irritated because I was stretched very, very thin. I was building a new house. I was trying to do full time work. I was trying to spend time with my baby, but I wasn't being able to do 100% of anything. So, and I think it's okay to take a pause. Your professional life can take a pause. My elder sister, Pranita, used to tell me, spend time with your kid. And I feel like Corona has almost, I wouldn't say the blessing, but the isolation part with my kid, which I otherwise wouldn't have had. So I'm learning to appreciate that. I'm learning to appreciate the pauses in life and say it's not a break. It's not like I can always pick up my career. If I have the skills, something good can come around or I can make something out of it. So I feel like you really need to tell yourself it's not a race. The only person you're racing, is in the race is yourself, and you need to take care of yourself, be happy. So, but even though it was a difficult decision, I think it came out of self-love. So all's good at the end.
And I realized I was a hypocrite because I was trying to define success for you. So in my head, I was like, oh, you're just staying with the baby and not doing as much as you can. But I realized I was also being very hypocritical in that sense. So,
I
now,
think that's how we've been conditioned. I don't think it's necessarily to blame anyone. I remember having the same conversation with our other sister, Prajita, when she had a baby. She always wanted a very successful career. And she let go of a promotion. And even at that point, she always wanted the best of cars. And I think that also sort of changed. And it's all about defining success and what makes you happy. That self love, even though it's been preached, because of the way we've been brought up as girls, take care of house, be good at this. So we are balancing so many things that self love is slowly evolving, and we are at a point where we are able to accept that self love, not as a selfish thing, but as a self interest thing. When we were expecting, my husband and I, we had this conversation. We asked ourselves, when we have a baby, what's that one life lesson that we want him to live his life by? And the funny thing is, we both came up with the same thing. And I think that's the piece of advice I want to leave everyone with. Don't take life too seriously. And this means for your failures, this means for your successes, and this means for your happiness. It means that however you've defined success, however you've defined failures, however you've defined happiness, be fluid about it. It'll change with time. And I had a teacher who used to tell me when I was in grade five. No, 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 not in grade five. I think eight, and I had really bad grade. And that teacher said, "Will it matter in 5 years?" And at that point, I was like, "It won't, but it matters to me right now." I had no idea what he was saying, but right now, that's a question I ask myself. If someone is bothering me, something is bothering me, I ask myself, is it really going to matter 5 years down the road? And if it doesn't, it's not worth it. It's not worth the effort. It's not worth the anger. It's not worth any of that feeling. So don't take life too seriously. Live your life. Be happy. Be gentle with people around you and love yourself. I think if you love yourself, if you learn to love yourself, I think life will just be beautiful.
All right. Love yourself, you guys. PJ, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thanks for having me, Pranayna.
I love you. Have a wonderful week, you guys.